Hello everybody and welcome to the Cool Critters Outreach YouTube channel. I'm Brian, this is Marge. We're going to take a little walk and learn a little bit about African gray parrots and Marge herself. Won't you join us? So, again, here we have Marge. She is an African gray parrot. An African gray parrot comes from equatorial Africa, so right across the middle of Africa. Basically from coast to coast, Central Africa. These birds are considered a medium-sized bird. They only weigh about a pound or so when they're full grown. There are two different species of African gray parrot. You have the African gray, like this one, like Marge here. You see she's got the light and dark gray feathers. She has the red tail feathers in the back there, and she has that real pretty black beak of hers. There's another species called, I believe, the Timney parrot. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Timneh. It's a little bit smaller than the African gray. Does not have a black beak like the African gray. The other feathers are pretty much normal or regular, except for the tail feathers. They do not have red tail feathers. They're more of a light or dark gray, sometimes all black. Either way, they're both basically kind of the same bird. But this is the more popular one in the pet trade. Their populations in the wild are declining. There's a couple main reasons for that. One is deforestation. And the other reason is because about every year, roughly 20% of the wild African gray population is taken from the wild so that people can get them as birds, as pets. That's terrible. It's for that reason that whenever you go to get a pet, especially something that's considered exotic, you make sure it's captive born, captive bred, or captive bred, captive born. You don't want to take anything from the wild. If it's in the wild, it needs to be in the wild. So that's why their populations are declining. They're not endangered or anything, but they're definitely on the decline. Let's talk about the reproduction of these guys. So what'll happen is Dad'll start doing the dance. And so he'll flap his wings, he'll droop his wings, he'll bob his head. He might even sing a little tune, and if she likes him, she's going to sing a tune too. She might do a little duet with him. Now, when these guys find a mate, they do mate for life. So they'll find a little tree with a hole in it. She'll climb in and lay her eggs right in that little hole. And she'll sit on those eggs for about 3 to 4 weeks until they hatch. Now, the whole time she's sitting on them, the male is bringing her plenty of food to make sure she stays healthy. And by the way, when she lays her eggs, they only lay about 2 to 5, maybe twice a year. Typically July through January, which is their dry season. And when she lays the eggs, she lays them about a day or two apart. So she'll lay an egg, and then a day or two later, another one may pop out. A day or two later, another one may pop out. You get the idea. So again, she's going to hang with them for about 3 to 4 weeks. They hatch, and then she can finally leave and start gathering food for them as well, along with the male. And they'll stay in that little house of theirs for about roughly 3 months. And then they start to venture out. Now, when they venture out, they don't leave. They're not leaving on their own. What they're doing is they're learning all the calls, and they're learning all the noises that these guys make and what it means, and they're learning how to survive, because these guys, they're known to mimic everything. So in the wild, they mimic other bird calls and things, and when you have one as a pet, they'll mimic you, your voice, what you say, the truck backing up next door, your phone ringing, your microwave beeping, whatever it is, they're going to mimic that too. Once the babies are about 2 to 3 years old, then they venture out on their own. They're considered adults, and they head out and try to find their own mates, and the cycle begins again. So Marge, why do we have Marge? Look at how absolutely gorgeous she is. When we got Marge, the family that had Marge, they called and said, hey, we're moving. could you watch our bird? It's very stressful on a parrot. When you move, could you please keep an eye on her? Sure, no problem. It's supposed to be for about 2 or 3 weeks. Well, they showed up and they handed us a bird with no cage, no food, nothing, just a bird. We pretty much figured at that point they weren't going to come back, and we were correct. We've now had Marge since November of 2017, I believe. Maybe 2016. When we got her in, the one thing we noticed is Marge can't talk. Now again, these birds are all very vocal. Most of them talk and mimic things, but some will just make noises and that's what Marge does. So she doesn't talk. She's missing a couple of toes. And when we got her in, she had a seizure pretty shortly thereafter. And she's had a couple since, and she hasn't had them in a while. And not only is it just not good to have a seizure, but it's really not good for a bird, because if they're on a perch and they have a seizure, they fall off. When they fall off, their bones are so brittle and fragile, they could easily break something. So you don't want that to happen. Said she hasn't had one in a while, though, so we're really happy about that. So she's missing some toes. She had some seizures. She can't talk. Other than that, she looks real good. We don't know her age at all. No clue whatsoever. We do know she can't see real good. Her vision is not the best. So what's it like to have an African gray parrot as a pet? Well, we live about 50 years. That's a long time to have a pet. They're incredibly messy. They drop their food. Now their food, we're talking berries, nuts, seeds, everything else like that. Fruits and veggies and things. If they don't like something, they'll just throw it on the ground. Marge specifically likes her peas. If you try to give her a banana, she'll chuck it across the room. Or she'll just drop it, one or the other. So they live a long time. They're messy. They're expensive. They poop a lot. And the biggest thing I can tell you is, before you get a pet, and I will say it 1,000,000 times, research it. Know what you're getting into. Don't just go to get the pet because it looks cool or you think it's going to be fun. Because they are work, and they're work for a long time. Potentially the rest of your life. So you got to make sure, again, everyone is happy. Got to make sure you do it right by them. Thank you for joining us today on our walk with Marge and learning a little bit about African gray parrots. If you have any questions, please feel free, contact us, put them in the comments below, find our website, get on our social media pages, do what you got to do. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a great day. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. Later.